Rolling.
Okay, here we are, back to Cosmic Flyer. This will be video number 4. I finally got all the ailerons put on, got the elevator set up, and she's ready to fly. I'll show you a little bit of what I did here. I put the servos in the wing because I like 2 servos, 1 in each wing. That way I can do flapperons or spoilerons. I have it set up for flapperons right now. You can see the servos in here. I embedded them in the wing as far as I could, and you can see they come through on the other side. I have tape over here to hold them in place. Put the servos in, and I ran a bead of hot glue underneath this fairing I put on here. Put the fairing on to reduce the drag that these servos are going to make. See, sticking up in the wing like that, they're going to create drag. So in an attempt to reduce drag as much as I can, I made these little fairing things out of here, out of just some spare foam I had around. Got all that mounted in, glued on some control horns here. Other things I did is I ran some graphite strands along here to stiffen up the wing. Having cut this wing, it weakened it quite a bit, so I put some graphite on there, epoxied that on top and bottom, stiffened it up real nice so I can really beat the crap out of it, get it out in some high winds. Came out a little heavy, but that's okay. I haven't calculated what the wing loading is on it yet, but I'm sure I'm going to need at least 8 mile an hour and above winds to fly it, which is fine. What else did I do? Back here in the tail, I put a little piece of graphite, some stiff graphite ribbon that I had on the rudder, because remember earlier it was rudder and throttle only from the motor. Well, as a sloper I don't need the rudder, so I put this piece of graphite on here to hold that rudder straight. Laid some tape over that to streamline it, to reduce drag there. Cut the elevator. They had a little notch here, but I like a full elevator, so I cut it all the way across, sanded it down, and taped it pretty much the same way I did in one of the previous videos where I showed you taping the aileron hinges. These hinges are done pretty much the same way here. I've got all my radio gear inside. Take these rubber binders off here. So I ran some extensions back here so I could plug the wing in. Take the wing off for transportation. Taped the wires down. I think I'm going to channel that out and dig it in a little bit. I've got the stiffeners on here for the wing, so cutting these channels here isn't going to make the wing any weaker. It'll just reduce drag a bit. Everything is pretty much tuned up. I've got it set up for ailerons, and I've got a little bit of aileron differential in there. Of course, I'll have to tune that once I get it out on the slope. Got a little bit of aileron differential so I can do some nice straight rolls, and it's also set up for flapperons. I'll show you that in a minute. And in the fuselage, I got the battery tucked up here, got everything plugged in. Made a battery pack, a little square battery pack of NiCads. Got the receiver. It's taped to the side up here. The aileron mount that was in there, I don't know if you can see it down there, the little orange servo. The servo that was in there was all the way one way and all the way the other. It wasn't fully proportional, so I tore that out, put in my own servo, used the same mount. And the push rod, I used the original push rod I straightened it out a little bit. If you remember in the previous video, I had to bend that a bit to tune the elevator, and I had to straighten that out pretty much. Put a little guide here. I just took a safety pin, bent it over, tucked it underneath this support here, screwed it all back together, and you got these little screws on the bottom that holds the empennage down, and that keeps this rod from slopping around, gives me firmer control. And oh yeah, here the trailing edge was kind of weak, and I could see that the rubber band was starting to bend it, so I took a little piece of wood, I think that was a stir stick I got from Starbucks or someplace, and kind of rounded it off and glued that down. And that's I think that's pretty much the modifications that I've done to it. And all we have to do now is wait for the wind to blow and go out and do a flight test, and we'll add that into this video. We'll do some sloping and we'll test this baby. Alrighty. Alrighty.